I did something I haven't done for a while. Like, honestly, I haven't done it this much since probably Ink Alive Pereira, as far as just watching footage, guys. I watched a lot of footage. I'm sick of seeing Max Holloway and Dustin Poirier on my screen. I never thought I'd say that, bro, but I watched so much footage before I decided to make this video, the stylistic breakdown, guys, and I know who's going to win now. So do what you want with that information. This is a Mr. Kenny pick. Mr. Kenny, brother, we arrived, a little bit handsome this time, for the Cowabunga fans who are like a little bit, oh, I want both of them to win, dude. They're both radical in my heart. Brother, one has to win, and I know which one's going to win, so we're going to talk about in this video, guys. Max Holloway versus Dustin Poirier is a completely different fight from their previous fight at 155, and obviously way different from their fight when they were first newborns in the UFC. Anyone even bringing that up for like, yeah, by the way, Dustin beat him twice, bro. Yeah, he did beat him twice on paper, but what matters really is probably the little bit of the last fight and what they've done lately, because there's been significant changes from both guys, specifically Max, that we're going to talk about. So without further ado, guys, let's talk about this, guys. The stylistic breakdown between Dustin Poirier and Max Holloway. It's a different fight, and I want you guys to know it's a different fight before we get into this. But without further ado, let's get right into it. First and foremost, I want to talk about notable changes, guys. These are changes I've seen from Max and even a little bit from Dustin since the last time they fought. First of all, Holloway didn't get to 155 well the first time, and this is true. I even remember DC saying it in the midst of Holloway versus Gaethje, because it was obvious that Holloway looked so fat. Not so fat, but he looked so much like chubbier, in contrast to how he looked against Gaethje, where he looked like thick and big, paws, but real big, real strong. And I'm actually going to play a clip of Dustin Poirier talking about it.
He looks much more comfortable right now in his second attempt to fight at lightweight.
Well, he looks a lot bigger.
Yes, he does. Naturally bigger. Not fat. He said his manager called him Muffin Top Max in the fight against Dustin because he had just went down the weight in 4 weeks. He said this time he had time, and he feels like a real lightweight.
And I feel like Max getting to 155 better, like I feel like him getting to 155 better allows him to take shots better, because if you watch the Dustin Poirier fight, please watch it back. Max Holloway, when he gets hit by Dustin, he'll literally go flying across the ring. In contrast, when he gained the weight appropriately and got solid muscle on, when Gaethje would hit him in the pocket, he would eat it, then he would fire back with some mean shots. Max Holloway gaining weight appropriately and gaining gaining muscle in the appropriate time period is going to allow him to, first of all, generate more power, which we saw in the Gaethje fight, because he slept Gaethje. Someone who slept Justin, by the way, he slept Gaethje. We know this, brother. And he eats shots well. So when you put on muscle the right way, it's very important, especially when you're going up in weight. It allows you to gain toughness by taking shots and give back some power shots, which Max Holloway did perfectly in the Justin Gaethje fight, which is why he looks so much different in comparison from the Justin Gaethje fight to the Dustin Poirier fight. Also want to know something. Holloway was boxing heavy the first time. Now, casuals going to be like, Kenny, dude, but Holloway's always fucking heavy on the boxing. Yes, his go-to style is his boxing, but I want you guys to peep in his recent fights with Justin Gaethje, Ilia Topuria. He's doing things where he's throwing oblique kicks, stomps on the leg, He's doing things where he's throwing body kicks, where he's doing spinning attacks, spinning kicks that actually landed on Gaethje early in the first fight. He's doing things that mix it up and doesn't just make it boxing only, because when he went in there with Dustin Poirier boxing only, even though he was outlanding Dustin via volume, because he did outland him that entire fight, he was still getting hit with some shots, because Max Holloway inevitably is always going to get touched up, because his striking style is kind of like, I'll take your best shot, but I'll come back with 40-50. And that works well unless you're going against someone with a significant power advantage, because you didn't gain the weight properly, and that's what Dustin Poirier had in that fight, which is why he pulled out the fire. And I want to point out this, that I feel like people aren't really understanding. Since that fight, Dustin Poirier has slowed. He looks like he's gotten worse, whereas Max has got better. Since that fight, Poirier lost to, of course, Khabib. He lost to Islam. He lost to Charles. He lost to Gaethje. He's losing a lot of people. And yes, he did beat BSD and had some other decent wins, but he's losing a lot more. In contrast, I look at Max Holloway, who since then has lost to Ilia Topuria, who's a really good fighter in my opinion. And who else did he lose to? Volkanovski. He lost to Volkanovski and Ilia Topuria, the two best featherweights of all time. And he's went up in weight and actually beat a Justin Gaethje, whereas Dustin Poirier's last fight against Gaethje didn't end too well. Since then, I just want you guys to know Max Holloway has improved. Dustin Poirier has slowed down. Does that mean Dustin Poirier is washed now? He's not washed. He's just not as good as a version of himself as he was when he fought Max. Whereas I feel like Max is actually a better version, a more complete version of himself, and going to gain the weight properly. He's just going to be a whole different Max Holloway. And now that I addressed that elephant in the notable changes, let's get into the stylistic breakdown. Let's talk about the striking first. Dustin will still have the power advantage. I know I'm talking about Max Holloway getting up. Yeah, dude, I'm looking strong now. I'm fucking crazy. You know, he's going to be stronger, but he's not going to be more powerful than Dustin Poirier. Both guys aren't really powerful. To be fair, if one guy has shown me one punch power out of the two, I say Max Holloway. You know, I think Max Holloway's one punch against Gaethje, well, it's kind of accumulation, but like he kind of slept Gaethje bad, you know. Even when Dustin Poirier slept BSD didn't go out cold as bad as someone like Justin Gaethje, I feel like. So I still think Dustin has a power advantage because they're both volume people who like build their power through their volume, but I feel like Dustin Poirier does a little bit more of a job sitting down those punches than Max Holloway, who kind of just likes his volume a little bit more than his power shots individually. But I also said Max Holloway will still have the volume advantage and with more power, which means Dustin Poirier, who was getting tagged up a lot and against the fence a lot against Max Holloway the first fight, is going to have a little bit more pop behind those punches, going to be more power behind those punches, and is going to be a better in shape Max Holloway, who's ready to do this for 25 minutes again, but in better shape. Real strong, real bad man, you know, strong, little bit handsome. Listen, he's handsome now. Max even more handsome. I didn't even add that. He is a big improvement, brother. He looked a little bit better, you know. This guy's ready for him. And I said low kicks will be traded. And I want to make this evident because, like I said, the first fight, the second fight with Dustin and Max, rewatch that again. Dustin was the only one kind of throwing low kicks, and when he did, Max would have a huge reaction. Like, he would just go fucking flying. Not even just the low kicks, the punches. In general, every single time Dustin landed on Max, you saw the significant impact it had on Max Holloway. But now that I feel like Max Holloway has added those obliques and those stomps and those body kicks and those spinning kicks to his arsenal a little bit more, he'll be more willing to trade those, which is going to be a lot better for opening up more strike opportunities for Max Holloway. Now, against Ilya, he did it great, which is why he had some success on Ilya. People say he looked like he was up against Ilya. I don't think so. But he was landing some good shots, and his kicks definitely helped him against Ilya specifically. Those boxing-heavy styles like Dustin's and Ilya's, those low kicks are going to open up a lot of problems for them. So that is important to note, and that's important to talk about. And I said Max will have a deeper bag overall in the striking because although the boxing is pretty comparable, I do think Max's volume is going to have a little bit more of an effect on Dustin because his volume is going to stem for more power. In addition to, I feel like they're both going to kick, but Max throws body kicks. He'll throw head kicks now, actually. Even head kicks. Yeah, Max Holloway throwing head kicks, bro. Be ready, brother. I'm telling you, he's going to throw some head kicks, spinning kicks, you know. He's going to have a little bit of a deeper bag in the striking, which means Dustin Poirier is going to have to make an adjustment in this fight. I don't know what adjustment. Maybe a little bit resto, like let's stall it then. I don't know if he's going to stall it then, brother. I couldn't tell you. But I know he's going to try to do something different because he's probably aware that Max has evolved. And if he makes the mistake of going into the same way he was last time, trying to just outdog Max, he will get destroyed. Not just lose, he'll get destroyed. He needs to make adjustment. I don't really know what adjustment to make. Maybe more clinching. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. But Dustin Poirier does need to do something different or Max Holloway is going to beat the shit out of him. I'm telling you right now. That's the striking comparison. We're going to get into the grappling. Let's be real, guys. Are these guys going to grapple? Probably not. Dustin Poirier has a useless guillotine advantage. You know, he's going to throw an attempt or two, maybe, probably not. But he's going to fail it, and then it's going to be useless. Likely minimal grappling. I don't see, like, either guy grappling. You know, Max did grapple a little against Ilya, but he showed that he's very well at getting up, scrambling. Ilya had no control over Max, even though he had some good time takedowns on Max. So I don't see Poirier shooting takedowns and even scoring. And if he does, he's definitely not holding fucking Max Holloway down. He's just not. And that's not in Dustin Poirier's party, you know. If anything, people have to shoot on Dustin to make him jump these guillotines and do these stupid shit, you know. So it's going to be a primary striking match. So the grappling comparison is not really big in the stylistic breakdown, which is a little bit different because usually I'm used to talking about, yeah, man, the grappling and these stylistic breakdowns. But for this one, I just don't see much grappling. However, just because there's no grappling doesn't mean there's going to be no like in close work because the clinch is going to be big. I actually think Dustin will thrive more here in the clinch because of his power. Now, of course, we see the Islam fight. Islam trying to initiate the clinch. Dustin just ripping into it. Dustin just needs to be Dustin in the clinch and make it ugly. Make it a little bit dog fight. You know, a little bit strong guy, a little bit scary. That's what Dustin does better than Max. Whereas Max is okay with the dogfight, but I do feel like I said, I still think Dustin's a bigger guy naturally than Max, of course. So he can use his size a little bit and his power in the clinch. Whereas I feel like Max Holloway is going to use more speed and volume in the clinch. So you get like if Dustin tries to initiate a clinch, you guys see how quick like Max throws and like not just the clinch, but very in close. Like that last sequence against Justin Gaethje when he slept him, the hand speed on Max in close is disgusting. That kind of stems from lighter men skill. People like to say it is a lighter men skill thing. He comes with a lot of speed. You know, and now he's generating power since gaining the weight appropriately. You know, having trying to gain weight against Dustin on short notice, that's why he looked a little bit chubby in that. You're not going to gain it appropriately. But when you look at someone like Max gaining weight appropriately and still having that speed that he somehow carries from 145 to 155, that's where it becomes a problem and a little bit dangerous for someone like Dustin Poirier. So I don't know how Dustin's going to react to the speed and the volume of a Max, but he's going to have to do something different. But I can't really put a figure on what he needs to do different. It just looks like a stylistic mismatch as far as speed and volume is concerned. But like I said, Dustin needs to rely on his power. But I guess Dustin doesn't have that one-hitter quitter. So even if he does rely on his power, he's still going to lose on points. You know, so I really look at this fight, guys. I look at multiple aspects of the fight. The striking, I really think Max favors Max. You know, even the grappling is not going to be anything. So what's Dustin really going to do? Because since Max made these notable changes, that's what makes it a lot more problematic for Dustin Poirier in this fight this time around. It's going to be a completely different fight. This could be a one-sided whooping, guys. And trust me, I did the work. I did the research, brother. You know, I'm not a little bit stupid. I know what I'm talking about. And overall, how do I think it plays out? Who do I think wins? What do I think the scorecards are going to be? I think Max is going to outclass Dustin Poirier for the majority of this fight, guys. Majority of this fight, you know. Dustin will have his moments. When I say Dustin will have moments, I'm referring to him having a moment where he catches Max. Maybe stumbles Max. Max is not impossible to catch clean. He has a great chin, though. I'm not really worried about Dustin Poirier chinning Max, but it is a possibility that Dustin catches Max with a shot of some sort that maybe wobbles Max or makes Max reset. He's not going to have a finishing sequence, though. But I think the fight will likely come down to output, and I do think Max is going to win the output. But you might be like, but Kenny, he won the output battle the second fight when he went up to 155. Why did he lose on the cards? Because the power vanished. Even though Dustin's still going to have it, since Max is able to take the shot better in his good frame when he bulks up to 155 appropriately, he's not going to be in shambles as much when he gets landed on by Dustin Poirier. He's going to eat it. He's going to fire back. Like against Gaethje, he was able to eat some of his shots in the pocket and fire back immediately. He'll be able to do that against Dustin Poirier. When Dustin Poirier is used to him hitting Max and Max just going flying, bro. Like just going, getting sent across the octagon. Dustin expecting that to happen is not going to be a good thing because he's banking on Max gaining weight in 4 weeks again. You know, that's not going to happen. This Max Holloway, he's done on 145. He said he's physically not capable of even making 145 again. He said he doesn't even know why he's in the ranks of 145. Brother, this is not this guy weight class. He's going to be a natural 155er at this point. He's going to be stronger than he even was in the Gaethje fight, I believe. You know, I think he's going to be a better version of himself in the Gaethje fight. And I do think the version of himself coming off the knockout, yes, you never know how you're going to feel coming off a finish. It is Max first time getting knocked out like that. That might be an unwritten aspect I'm really not talking about much, because sometimes fighters do get knocked out, come back a little bit, maybe scared a little bit. I don't want to get chinned. I don't know if Max is going to do that, but I really doubt it. I really feel as if Dustin Poirier is nowhere near the speed or the power of an Ilya, so he's going to actually feel like, wait, why does this guy feel so much slower than my last opponent? Lighterman skills real. Ilya's real. Ilya's that quick, you know, and you were dehydrated in that fight. You know, you probably couldn't take a punch as clean. And even though he did cold Max ain't go out like Charles Oliveira, guys. Like Max ain't go like slumped. He kind of got some follow-up shots and kind of like went out of it a little bit, but he didn't get slumped cold. I do think that slumping, like him getting slumped, is not going to negatively affect him, probably to the extent most people think. But I think Max's decision, 49-46, maybe I can see Dustin stealing around. A 50-45 wouldn't surprise me. I really do think Max Holloway just at this point of his career is better than Dustin Poirier, and I really feel like it's going to show, especially when Max Holloway puts on that weight appropriately, mixes in the kicks. Remember, I'm talking about the kick, because the kicking game is going to be the single. People are going to be talking about the kicks after the fight. Max Holloway was mixing up those obliques and those body kicks really well against Dustin Poirier. Trust me, chat. Trust me. I'm the best. Like, I'm telling you right now, it's not that Dustin Poirier's ass now. It's not that Dustin Poirier's lackluster now. It's just that Dustin Poirier is not at that point of his career where he could beat someone like Max Holloway, who does thrive with volume and will land more volume shots, but they're going to have more sting behind it. And I know people are talking about, well, what about the Islam fight? Guys, the Islam fight, I always look at it and I'd be like, Islam kind of dominated him on the feet. And in the wrestling, of course, but Islam looked better than him on the feet. I don't think people actually deep that. Oh, the takedown threat. Dustin really wasn't worried about the takedown like that. He just got dominated. Dustin's not necessarily hard to hit, especially when you blitz in on him. Like Justin Gaethje had great success doing that, especially the second fight. Islam Makhachev, when he would jump in and counter him, it was easy. Max is a lot more reactive than a Islam and even a Justin, and a lot faster in the hands, you know, and the volume's a lot more overwhelming. I see Max Holloway just putting the beats on him, Dr. Dre, hands on him, lots of bass. When I say lots of bass, I mean lots of bass. Yo, what's up? You know I'm tough. I won't give you $1, but you can hold a buck. Follow your cue. You act like you ain't supposed to duck. You got the balls to test it. Cool, I'm going nuts. So, yeah, I really do believe that Max Holloway is going to go in there and beat him by decision. It's going to be close in the sense that Dustin won't get, like, he won't make it look like he got whooped, but he will lose every round pretty clearly. Is there a world that Max knocks him out? Sure. But I do think Dustin's durability should get him through those moments where he is rocked. But I do think it's going to be similar to the Gaethje fight. Just a little bit more domination because I think Max improved since the Gaethje fight. But let me know what you guys think down below. This is my opinion, of course. Trust me. I did the research, brother. Trust me. This is going to go well. But that's it for me. Hope you enjoyed. And God bless. 2, 3.